Hello students, welcome back to your economics class. Today we will do a very quick overview of the entire chapter. In this chapter, you all have seen how we can differentiate and classify the economic activities based on three classifications: on the basis of economic activity, on the basis of the organization, and on the basis of ownership. Today, you students can successfully say that sectors of Indian economy have been well understood by y'all. Y'all know the meaning of primary, secondary, tertiary sector, which is classification of Indian economy on the basis of economic activity. You'll also know the difference between organized and unorganized sector, which are again different sectors of Indian economy classified on the basis of organization. And finally, you all very well know the difference between private and public sector, which are sectors of the Indian economy classified on the basis of ownership. Today, you all know that you can classify the sectors on the basis of economic activity as primary, secondary, and tertiary. The activity that is concerned with the production of goods and services and earning of income is known as an economic activity. Based on this economic activity, the economy can easily be classified into primary, secondary, or tertiary. Primary means it includes activities carried with the help of natural resources. Most of the natural resources we get are mostly from the agriculture, and that's why this sector is also known as agricultural and related sector. Importance of primary sector is that it provides raw materials to secondary sector, in the absence of which production cannot take place. Examples of this sector will be agriculture, fishing, mining. It includes, next we go to tertiary sector. In the secondary sector, we know it includes activities which involve transformation of the raw material into finished goods. Generally, this transformation takes place in industry, and so the sector is known as manufacturing sector. The importance of secondary sector is that it converts raw materials into finished goods, and in the absence of secondary sector, raw material will remain unutilized. Examples of secondary sector are manufacturing industries like car making, cloth making, sugar making, etc. Tertiary sector, it includes activities which renders services to other two sectors. These activities don't produce a good, but they support the production process. Also called as service sector, as it generates services. Importance of the tertiary sector is tertiary sector is very important as it's a link between primary and secondary sector, which would not develop in the absence of tertiary sector. Examples that fall into the tertiary sector are transportation, banking, communication, teaching, etc. These three sectors are interrelated and interdependent on each other. One sector needs the help of the another to carry out production. We will see the example of this. In the primary sector, we have cotton, which is grown and picked on a cotton farm. This cotton is processed to cloth in the secondary sector, which in turn is sewn into clothing. And finally, this is in the tertiary sector, This is sold to the end customer. In the process, many services like banking, transportation, storage, etc. are also needed. This will belong to the service sector, which is a part of the tertiary sector. We have also been able to compare these three sectors. Values of goods and services should be used instead of adding the actual product. Why is this? Because not every good and services that is produced and sold needs to be counted. Only the final goods and services are counted. Final goods are the goods that are the finished goods which are sold in the market. Intermediate goods are all the goods which are used by the producer to producing other goods. These are known as intermediate goods. So if you look at this picture, the price of the biscuit will include the nuts, the milk, the wheat, and sugar, oil, essence, etc. While calculating the amount, we do not look at prices of nut, milk, wheat, oil, sugar, essence, etc. individually. But we just look at the price of the biscuit, which automatically adds all these things. Okay. So to find the total production of a sector, the monetary value of goods and services is added up rather than adding up the actual numbers. While calculating the total production of a sector, the value of only the final goods is calculated and not the intermediate goods. The value of final goods already include the value of intermediate goods. If we also count the value of intermediate goods, then it will lead to double counting. So we only look at the value of the final goods. Gross domestic product. The value of goods and services produced in each sector in a particular year is calculated and added up. The sum of production in three sectors gives us the total production in a country, and this is called as gross domestic product. GDP is the value of final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year. Change in the importance of sectors. Developed countries, we have seen lots of changes in the importance of sectors. If you look at the developed countries, in the initial stages of development, the primary sector is the most important. But with time, you will be able to see a shift from primary to secondary and finally to the tertiary sector. The shift between sectors can be seen in two ways. In terms of share of each sector in the GDP and in terms of employment in each sector. The shift in the terms of share can be seen from primary to secondary to tertiary. And the shift in employment of each sector, in that you will see that the primary sector constitutes to employ still the maximum number of people. While there has been a change in the share of these three sectors in the Indian GDP, we have not seen the similar shift in the employment part. Like you can see over here in the GDP, the tertiary sector is really contributing quite a lot compared to 1973 to 2003. But in terms of employment, okay, this is the agriculture only. This is share of sectors in GDP. Yes. But if you see in the employment, the tertiary sector is not giving in as much as it's producing, because the primary sector is still the main employer. So this must change. Then we have seen the division of sectors on the basis of working condition of employment into organized sector and unorganized sector. Organized sector is where all the activity is carried out through a system and they follow the government regulations. Unorganized sector is the one that evades most of the laws and it is outside the government control. We've seen this also, the difference between organized sector and unorganized sector. And then we even spoke about how can we protect the workers of the unorganized sector. So in rural areas, we can control them, we can save them, we can protect them by providing loans at low rate of interest, by giving them subsidized rate. We can give them raw materials at subsidized rate. We can give them adequate storage and transportation facilities. And we can also market, we can give them a marketing outlet. We can give them easy market conditions for the sale of their goods. In the urban areas, we can again provide loans at low rate of interest. We can give them support for marketing of their products. And we can also help them in procuring the raw materials. Then we saw the classification of sectors on the basis of ownership as private sector and public sector. Ownership of the assets and delivery of services in the hands are of few individuals in the private sector, whereas in the public, ownership of the assets and delivery of services is in the hands of the government. So with this, we ended this chapter. And now, y'all should be able to understand the significance of service sector in the Indian economy, especially with its contribution to the GDP and employment. You all should also know the meaning, nature, and all the features of the service sector. You all will be able to understand the increasing role and growth of service sector in India. Today, you all can successfully comprehend the interdependence and comparison of the three sectors. You all can appreciate how Indian service sector is a service provider to the entire world. You all can also identify the challenges faced in trying to raise the employment levels in India. You all have seen the contribution of different sectors in GDP and employment, and you all can differentiate between the public and the private sectors and also give specific examples of both. You all know the role of service sector in the employment generation, and you all can comprehend the role of public investment, especially in infrastructure, education, and health. Today, you can distinguish between organized and unorganized sector and also give appropriate examples. You all know that in line with the global trend, the service sector in India is growing rapidly, and India has emerged as a service-led economy. Service sector in India is contributing more than half of its GDP today. With this, I end today's revision class. No homework. Start studying for your unit test. Concentrate on your subject enrichments. Do your work very well and with honesty. Stay home, stay safe. Take care and keep learning. Thank you.